This is the time to choose between the lines.
Drivers around the secret. Candidate for Senate, Mass and Massacre. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you so very much. Kimmie Weeks is next. Thank you so much. Thank you for welcoming candidate Kimmie Weeks. So today, now is the time for you to know who is who here. Now, we've designated 3 minutes for each speaker, each candidate for Senate here today. You will say who you are, what you want to do, what you stand for, your most important objective, your vision, your platform in 3 minutes.
My name is Paulita Kimmie, number 7 candidate on the Coalition for Democratic Change. I obtained a degree of Bachelor of Arts in Sociology from the AME Zion University. I am the CEO and founder of Helping Impact Liberia, a non-governmental, non-political institution that has been in existence for the last 10 years that is involved with women empowerment and advocacy. For my platform, first we have to know the 3 cardinal functions of a legislature. 1, lawmaking, 2, oversight, and 3, representation. These characteristics are possessed because the records are there. You can track it from the last 15 years since I served in this country.
For me, I want to be a senator to serve you so that, number 1, to reconcile this country. As you can see, we are so divided now. Violence has permeated our society. As a result, investors are scared away. Given the input-driven economy we have, we need to be reconciled so as we can live peacefully to attract investors to survive.
My name is Kimmie Weeks. I'm running as an independent candidate for Montserrado, number 6 on the ballot. They call me the midfielder. I was born here in Montserrado. I grew up in Painesville. I started my life at Isaac David's. During the war, I nearly died from starvation and disease. It was that experience in the war that I dedicated my life to making a difference in the lives of the people of Liberia. I started my first organization when I was 14 years old and started work at that age to make a difference. I've been doing it all of my life. I decided to enter the race as senator because as I went across this county, I heard the frustration of people who were frustrated by the senators and representatives they had elected, who had disappeared, were not fulfilling their campaign promises, were not being seen in the community. I knew that the people of Montserrado needed someone who would be the difference and who they would count on, and I decided to stand. One of the major issues I want to tackle at the level of the Senate is reform. Right now, in a country that has so much issues, our senators and representatives are getting paid too much money. That's what I have said. As an individual, if I'm elected, I will go to the Senate and I'm going to give 100% of my salary and benefits into community development projects. I will also ensure that when we get there, we'll reduce the salaries and benefits of all of the senators and representatives and put that into education and into health care. We also need to reduce the tenures of our senators and representatives. They're spending too much time on the job. We cannot allow that to happen. That's why they're not being serious about their jobs. Generally, I'm going to focus on 3 major issues, specifically on human capacity. I'll focus on the areas of education, both formal and informal education, on the areas of healthcare, and on the areas of the creation of jobs. I know based on my history and track record in all sectors that I will be the best candidate and the best senator for Montserrado, and I'll make that difference. Thank you very much.
We have 20 issues that our candidates are aware of, but we also want to know what will you do? What will be the key, the first and foremost issue you will tackle and why you want to tackle that issue, and what do you hope to achieve? Beginning with Montella Cooper.
There's absolutely no money. The very little money that's left in Liberia is in the hands of a few individuals. Very few individuals. In order to do anything, whether it's creating jobs, whether it's fixing our education system, whether it's fixing the healthcare system, we must get money into our citizens' pocket. If the people of Montserrat do not have money in their pocket, then there will be no conversation about any education plan or any healthcare plan. We must get money in Montserrat County. And how do I do that? Within the first 90 days, I plan to host investment conference, get enough investors from across the region, across Africa, and across the world into Montserrat so that we can have investment funds to fund the different projects that we want to invest in and hire people so that the people can get to work and put money in their pocket. So that is the very first thing I plan to do.
No one is an island. And so if you can get good partners, you are able to move things forward. And so I hope in the first 90 days, I will be able to reach my people. I will be able to understand exactly what happened. We can work to get more children in school. We can work to get the economy stimulated by having those women who need to do some business go ahead and continue to do that. Because Montserrat is huge. And I know I'm a lawmaker, so I'm going to be hit on today. I'm ready to give the response. I'm ready to answer. And I say, let's get it on. Thank you.
There's a reason why I believe I'm the number 6, because you know the midfielders control the game. Listen, there's too much kukujumuku happening in the legislature. As we saw, the lawmaker came, he couldn't even answer the question of his salary. It's a major issue. They won't tell us, but we have to dig behind to find out that apparently our senators may be making as high as $17,000 US a month when you put everything together. In this country, there's too much money. We'll start first within 3 months of being senator. We'll put the bill on the floor to reduce their salaries and benefits, and we'll send that to education and healthcare. It's a matter of must. Number 2, revenue is what government needs to do the things that they need to do, to keep the clinics open, to keep the government schools running, etc. We have to immediately find ways to empower the LRA, strengthen the law, strengthen their collection capacity so they can bring in more revenue so government can invest in some of the main areas like education and healthcare. There's other ways that we can start to raise money. There's something they call the sin tax. We need to slap that on things like alcohol and tobacco so that we can raise money and also prevent our young people from going in those kinds of areas. Finally, one thing that is very critical, and we need to at least start the conversation, is on the area of agriculture. We always talk about it, but until we get serious about agriculture and until we invest in agriculture, Liberia is going nowhere. Agriculture is a must. Thank you.
I know most of you have talked about the national economy in its current state. What could you do?
Well, we are cognizant of the fact that the economy is bad. And I must admit it is bad. We are not strangers when it comes to the economy, but this is not an issue that this government met. That has been.
That is not an excuse.
And that is why this government came in to make a change. And they have set up the economic management team plus the IMF, talking about reduction of salaries, the wage bill. So those are things that the government is putting in place. And I think everybody has something to do when it comes to the economy. For instance, you need to create more jobs for our people. You need to invest in the private sector as well. When you have the private sector managed and work with, a lot of opportunities can happen for other people. Everybody cannot work in the government. Now, we need to create more jobs when it comes to agriculture. We need to go out there and lobby for more funding to come to our country. We need more investors. We need more donors to come and build companies, to come and build homes. Come and invest in our country to help our people.
Our economy is so bad and you all claim to want to do something. What will you do, Kimmie Weeks, as a senator to change this paradigm at this point?
We need to have a complete restructure of our economy. We need to have our economy change from where we are so import-based to where we can have, for example, food security. We're importing about $200 million worth of rice every single year. That's $200 million in foreign exchange that we're shipping out. We can change that by having food security, by first growing our own rice. When we have that food security, then we can begin to look at how do we export value-added products to get more foreign exchange. But we need to restructure, and we need to do that by focusing heavily on agriculture.
Let's talk about electoral reform as a big issue toward the next elections, as there will be. This thing about women quota. You want 30%. Why do you want 3 point?
Well, it's not 3 point. We are entitled to it.
Entitled?
We are entitled to it.
For what?
Well, number one, we're part of the nation. Our Constitution must protect our right. And so that's just a protection of women's right, because although we have rule of law,
But the Constitution also protects men's rights.
Well, yes, but based on history, men have always suggested themselves as the first person. So the system has always been there to support more male, and has created a male-dominated society, and have left so many women, the young people, as well as people of different physical disability, out of the equation. So that 30% that was forced into the law now is not just to protect women, because 30% is not just women, it's 3 different categories of people who have been left marginalized and left out. So I support affirmative action beyond that 30%.
Right.
Because the 30%, if you really think about it, you got the young people involved, you got the people with physical disability involved. So it's really, it should go a little higher. It should go up to 50%. There should be no reason why women who are already 50% of the population should be giving a less opportunity than men.
To that extent, women like to be powerful now in our country, and it's their right so well. And the call is that the 30% quota should be supported. Do you believe in the 30% quota to women?
Well, I believe that it can even be more. I believe that there's a lot of young women who desire to get into politics. I think what we need to have is more mentorship. We need to make sure that there's people mentoring young women. We encourage women in politics to ensure that they have young women that they're mentoring, because we must see and we must have the situation where there's more young women, in politics. So 30% is on the low side. I think we can even do better than that.
So here is the NEC. So you go and say, John Colley, Agent A or Magistrate A cheated or helped to cheat John Colley in the election. Then we'll go back to Magistrate A to judge the case. Do you believe that? You believe that should be the case?
If cheating comes about, I'm sure we have laws to that. I'm sure we have laws to that.
The law said we should go to NEC. Do you believe we should continue to do that? That's what we're asking you.
If we think we the people are not satisfied, we can propose where we want to go to have a clear cut.
So what do you propose now? I want to ask you that.
I will propose that we go to the law.
Which law?
Go to maybe the code A.
Okay. So directly to the court?
Yes.
Okay.
The code to handle it the best way.
I got you. Citizenship, as I mentioned earlier, is among 3 things that have really hampered Liberia's progress. The other's been land and power, but citizenship is on the table now. Our president, current leader, believes that we should review that and recast, in fact, the provisions. What do you think?
I think it's a major issue. I believe in dual citizenship for Liberians, but with limitations. I should believe that the limitation should be that there should be limitations on the ability to stand for elected office and for certain high-level positions. But we must give Liberians who have gone and gotten citizenship elsewhere the chance to come back and also be granted Liberian citizenship. So I believe in citizenship with restrictions, but specifically for Liberians.
Talk about citizenship, dual citizenship.
Dual citizenship. For years past, I've had a position on dual citizenship.
What is that?
Which has not changed. Kimmie Weeks made a case which I agree with.
Let you repeat that. I'd like to hear.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's do dual citizenship for Liberian born.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
Non-Negro.
Once you were born in Liberia, and you took up citizenship elsewhere for whatever reason, you should not lose your citizenship. But in order to enjoy it, there should be some restriction.
Okay.
You can be citizen of Liberia and citizen of Guinea, and you want to be president of Liberia. You got to have total allegiance to Liberia in order to become president.
Okay.
Vice president, chief justice, and certain key national positions.
Strong point.
Anything other than that, let's allow it.
So let's go for
Always in Liberia.
Once a Liberian, always a Liberian.
Yes.
No, that's a bad one though.
There's always good and bad.
You have an advice for Dr. Weeks about the salary reduction and all that he will get it done?
You see,
Do you think it's going to be difficult for him to do?
what you can do from the beginning, it goes up. Before I became a lawmaker, I gave all I had. When I became a lawmaker, I'm giving all I had. If he had given all he had from the board, from where he worked for, up to this time, then there will be a trend going. But if you haven't given all, please be mindful when you enter, because there are a lot of people who are counting on you, and there are a lot of things you have to take into consideration. So to stand and say, I will give all that I have, is a very thing.
And sometimes that all will not be enough, right?
Precisely.
It can be tough. You're very keen on legislative reform. You've told me that. And I got you on this one today, vis-a-vis the salary reduction. You claim you want to give all your salaries to people and live on nothing. You want us to trust you that you'll be hungry?
You know, one of the things that I say is that when I say that, it's not just a political statement. Even at Water and Sewer, my board fees went directly into my organization's work to transform our
Kimmie, where
water
would you
into
get the
areas.
other money that you will be eating?
It's what they
We're
call,
giving you jobs.
it's what they call alternative sources of income.
Okay.
And I have businesses, I have shares in companies that will make sure I can continue to live and I can continue to eat.
So free job you want?
It's not about being a free job. It's about because I will still be receiving my pay, it's just that we'll take that money and we'll put it back into community development projects, because I believe that senators should not be making as much as they are making when people don't have food to eat and cannot pay the fees of their children, or people don't have access to health care.
Now let's talk about, and you talk about rape. That's a serious issue. What could you do?
I think rape is a serious crime. Anyone who rapes someone is heartless. And that person, if it is verified through due process that that person actually has committed the act, then there should be no compromise of the law. That person should be dealt with accordingly. At the same time, the issue of rape should be something that we should not, it should not be approached with sentiment. Because many times, when you are a common person, this man raped me, no case, you are going to sub-bench. If you are a big person, this man raped you, then the law will say, well, we're going to investigate. Everyone should be equal. One nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All kinds of rapes are going on now, even the sort of the thing, the gay side of it and all. There are people being raped all over the place. What could you do is getting rampant in the country.
My heart goes out to our sisters, our mothers, who are being subjected to all kinds of
And your
gender-based
brothers too.
violence. And the brothers who are being subjected to gender-based violence. I believe one of the main issues that's affecting us right now is enforcement. We need to give the Liberia National Police the capacity to investigate and bring the perpetrators to justice. We need to make sure that the court systems are working effectively so that when those cases come before, they can amply try the people, make sure that if they're guilty, they serve the time. It's taking too long to solve or investigate or find these perpetrators guilty, and that's why more and more people are thinking that they can do it and go scot-free. We need to change that by putting resources into enforcement and also prosecution of those who are affecting our women, our sisters, our brothers, our fathers in such a negative way. One of the things that the Senate is about is representation. You have the situation where that the CDC already has one person in the Senate. If you were to go in the Senate, you would make the second person. That means you will be disenfranchising and not giving a voice to a majority of the people of Montserrat. Why do you want that to be the case? That's the first question.
The first thing, I'm a woman. Not just a woman, but a woman that understands the issues affecting our people across the county of Montserrat, the 17 electoral districts. What I talk about is women empowerment. I talk about women advocacy. I talk about youth education. And those are things that we need to do to get in the house. There are other things that have to do with beyond party line. We talk about working with other women institutions, working with other organizations that is involved with women capacity building, women empowerment, women advocacy. And so definitely we are going to add up to what we already have, because we all know elections is about a number, what you can do. And we cannot do it alone, because in the Senate it has to do with numbers. When you have one candidate, that means we don't have much, so we need to take all 30 senators to be able to 20 days. The main point.
You need all? Isn't that green? Interesting.
To support more bills that will help our people and to empower our people.
Kimmie, any objection to reporter?
Well, I think the people of Montserrado need fair representation, and it would never be fair for the CDC, the ruling party, to have 2 seats in Montserrado or 30 seats in the Senate.
I think now, you want to hit back at him? The 2 questions or something?
No, I got 2 questions.
Not for Kimmie?
Not for Kimmie.
Okay, Kimmie, recipient. Who you want to ask?
Thank the organizers and the people of Montserrado County. Come vote for Kimmie Weeks, number 6 on the ballot. I've had a long history of working to make a difference. We're going to continue that at the level of the Senate. We must both vote for someone who has the experience and the track record to put the people of Montserrado first. Thank you very much.
This is the time to choose between the lines. Someone to trust with integrity and make them lead. Kimmie was not come for you and I, to lead the people away. You must trust in me. Give me your photo. Mama, papa, brother, sister, and then uncle, mama, grandpa. Now let's vote for him. I gave you my photo. I gave you my photo. I gave you my photo. I gave you my photo.
We going for you. We will vote for you. We going for you. We will fight for you. We will fight for you. One blow for the papel. 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 On attend tout le temps à ces papels, c'est maintenant. Il get it on my mind, nana they on my dad selling. He get it picking scholarship, nana they picking talent. The papel I talk and do, the papel can do it for all.